Hey guys, we're back again. You're watching Container Life with Jessica. Remember, this week we have Jehudi Willis. Jehudi is the bomb.com. And so, what's great is what I appreciate about him the most is that, as y'all heard in the first session, he ain't new to this, he true to this. He been on this since, what you said, eighth grade?
Yeah, something like
Since
that.
eighth grade. Some people just wake up today and decide what they want to do. So when he talked about passion, you can hear he was smiling, getting all excited and stuff. That means he cares about what he does, and that's important, guys. It sounds like to me you're living in your purpose. Would you say that's accurate?
Yes, that's good to hear that.
Yeah,
that's good to hear
I'm
that.
just saying.
Definitely.
It sounds like
I'm
to
living in my
me
purpose.
you're living in your purpose. Some people take their whole lives trying to figure out who they want to be when they grow up, right? He has been doing this since the eighth grade. So I'm happy to hear that. So in the previous session too, we were kind of ending it on how your life is being affected by being in the green space, being in this industry, and definitely being a career influencer. So a lot of what you've done stemmed from when you were young, progressed into college, even though you went to school for mechanical engineering, you found a way to come back to what you were truly passionate and love.
Definitely.
So tell us more about that. What is it, what you into nowadays?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, on the piece of how kind of green life or that mentality has affected my life. So it's been interesting in terms of lifestyle shifts. So we know man-made and natural disasters and whatnot affect us and bring out the flaws in our lifestyles and our supply chains and the way we live. Mm-hmm. And so we've seen in these last several years with man-made and natural disasters and such and phenomena.
Yeah.
Group it and say phenomena. We've seen some people just suffer because, all right, I no longer have access to the food. I'm scrambling to try and get toilet paper and this and that from these stores, from these people that I go to all the time, and that is my source. But that is kind of like, I feel like the old way of thinking. It's a very centralized kind of distribution instead of a distributed generation methodology or perspective. So in the sense of, so in layman terms, I realized when it comes to food, I started growing food on the balcony. I started working.
He ain't right now with him today.
Nah.
You see my face?
It's growing. It's
still growing. Good answer.
But yeah, then even going to like local farms and helping out at local farms, helping to give out food there and make it accessible for people in the neighborhood, trying to purchase more from farmers markets and farms and such. And so, one, I said it before, but the quality of living is just better. So, I mean, fresh, we're talking about fresh. Yeah. Subway says eat fresh. That's not fresh. Kroger's is not fresh. Go to the farm and pick it. That's fresh.
Yes.
And so anyway, so just lifestyle shifts, and so we can get caught up in green life and whatnot, and think of solar and think of these kind of far out things, but it's really very close to home. It's like, being able to add some fresh basil from your balcony onto your spaghetti, that just ramps it up a notch.
That's right.
And so when I think about like lifestyle shifts, then also another company that I have, I'm trying to catch up with Jessica. Now she got about 10 companies.
I got 100 jobs.
But another business that I have that I started in the last couple of years is called Susu Society. So Susu in the sense of, I won't go into the whole thing, but it's
group economics. Has one level to it.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so taking that, the idea of the traditional susu and taking from that the idea of win-win relationships, right? That by giving in the susu, I'm actually saving, I'm actually receiving as well. Mm-hmm. And so Susu Society is really about elevating Black-owned lifestyles. And so we all, like, I feel like I asked every single one of you, is there something that you want to change or improve in your life? I'm sure that you would have at least one, if not 5 things that come to mind. And so then the question is, all right, how do you solve that problem? How do you shift your lifestyle? But then can we also source these products from black owned businesses? And so that's what Susu Society is working to do now, helping to bundle solutions. Right now with self-care and fitness, bundle different products to create a holistic bundle, a holistic solution for your lifestyle shift. And so lifestyle shifts are very important. I can keep rolling or...
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's up to you.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. Why do you think it's important for our viewers, our listeners to understand Susu Society from a perspective of money circulation? Or even from a perspective of supportiveness? Why do you think that's important for us as a culture, or just people who are trying to understand our culture?
Definitely. So two reasons. One, I think entrepreneurship over the years has definitely gotten more popular, and I think a good percentage of those are also people who felt like, hey, I can't work this job anymore. It is not stable. I cannot trust it, and so therefore I have to be an entrepreneur. I have this skill, or I'm going to learn this skill, and I have to do this for money, and I can rely upon that more, and I feel more comfortable with that. Maybe not a whole lot more comfortable at first, but I feel more comfortable with that than relying upon this job. So I think that's one thing. So when you support a black business, you're supporting a black family, you're supporting a black couple, you're supporting a generation, you're supporting a lifestyle and livelihood. So I think that's big. And so when I talk about elevating black-owned lifestyle, it's elevating you because you're shifting and you're solving your problems, but it's also elevating you because you're elevating others. You're elevating your community. And then two, I remember back when dashikis came back into trend, and we saw...
I got a funny story in a minute.
We saw these dashiki prints.
Fake dashikis?
Yes, that were not made in Africa.
Listen.
You look them up and they were made in Thailand.
Listen.
And so the symbolic representation of it is there. Okay, cool. You're wearing a dashiki. This is your first ever dashiki. You've never worn a dashiki.
A real one.
You still never worn a real dashiki.
Made from wax print or something else. I'm not... Listen. Go ahead.
So like the symbolicness is there. Symbolicness.
He made it up.
Yeah.
Just go with it.
Anyways. Is there, but then the money isn't there. The value isn't there. So what black families, couples, generations, livelihood are you supporting? Yes. So maybe the person who sold it to you, all right, they get a little 10%, 15% margin. Mm-hmm. All right, that's good. You got it from a black person. But what about the design of it? Where did they manufacture it? What about the cloth? What about the dyes? What about who shipped it? Yeah, what is it? And so what actually are you representing when you're giving money to this whole supply chain that doesn't represent and doesn't really care about this end product? They just realize there's demand. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why it's super big to have black-owned and to support black-owned businesses, for us to be more prosumers, to be producers and consumers.
Never heard that before.
Real prosumers. Yeah.
Thinking of all kind of words. Yeah. Here, y'all, prosumers.
That's the goal.
I love it.
Producer and consumer, because we have to solve our own needs, and we can't rely upon anyone else. Mm-hmm. And it's tighter, more effective, more appropriate, and just better when we do it. So
don't we do it better?
Always.
Just saying, y'all. Listen. So here's what I like about what you said. I like the word you use, prosumer. You produce it and you also can buy it, right? So again, when we're talking about trying to help people get ahead. So I consider myself a social entrepreneur. Mm. I create solutions to problems through my products and services, right? A lot of what Susu Society is also doing is also helping people tap into their purpose. So we know that he's living in his purpose. Y'all know I live in my purpose but how do you tap into your purpose, right? So what's great about being a prosumer, we already know how to spend money within our culture, but do we know how to produce products that represent our culture, represent our talent, represent our capabilities as a group when we're talking about being supportive and uniting? That all that stuff is super important, guys. So I want you to talk a little bit more about that. What is your thought process within the Susu society, within how you feel about things, people being creative, being creators, and also producing the products that will represent what Susu society is all about?
Yeah, definitely. No, I think it is about, I think that's so important. Because one, I think as people, you have to create. I mean, if not, you're like I remember seeing like a lion at a zoo one time, and it was after seeing Jurassic Park and whatnot. So they all get out and they go crazy. But seeing this lion in the zoo, and like he had none of his instincts. He wasn't really a lion. He was only a lion by name. And so I feel like in the same way, like we were made by the creator, but we are also creators. And so I think it's essential to our livelihood for us feeling good. I know it is for me. Like I don't feel balanced unless I'm producing in some way. So I think that's just important from that level. And then I think as you produce, you also become a better consumer. You said we know how to consume well, or we know how to consume. We know how to do it like quickly, but we're not. I wouldn't say we're actually good consumers many times.
We're not. That would not be an accurate word.
That would not be accurate.
Good is not a good word. We just spend money it's on fire, and we ain't never gonna be able to get it again.
Yeah, and I think as you become more creative, a producer, you appreciate that the artisanship, artistry. Mm-hmm. I'm making up all kind of words.
Today's his day. Don't y'all judge him, okay?
The craftsmanship, the realize that we're all artisans.
Yes.
And so then therefore it makes sense when you come and talk to someone, hey, I have this container, I have this set up. Here's this is what I did. Boom. Oh, for you, you said you needed this. Oh, the air quality is crazy right here. Boom, I included this. So this is the price. Oh, okay. I respect as a producer to another producer, as a creator to another creator. I can see what you did. I can respect what you did. I understand how you customized it for me. And so, boom, yes, there's definitely value for that. And therefore my money and my actions and my spreading the word will represent and will reflect that value that I see. So I think there's balance. I think you have to, because if you're just consuming, then like you have to produce.
You just taking up space in the world.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
And I feel as an entrepreneur that no one should be working for anybody else. We need worker bees, but I still feel like even small business owners should create environments where they are welcoming to ideas from their workers and encouraging their workers to start projects, just giving them creative control. And here's why. One thing I've learned, I'm 39. I started my first business 19 years ago. And so I know the reason why I started my first business, because I let my auntie hype me up. She said, girl, I love the way you make my gift baskets. You need to go into business. I said, should I go into business? Okay, let's go into business. And I ended up ending that particular business doing corporate gift baskets. So businesses would call me and I would make dope gift baskets for their clients. I started with auntie. You know what I'm saying? You got to start somewhere. And so in my opinion too, I think as entrepreneurs, we fight with, should I go on my own or should I stay because it's convenient for me to stay at a job, right?
Yeah.
We're not judging people who have jobs. I've had jobs. I've been independent contractors. I'm about money. Y'all ain't using me for my time. I'm using y'all for your money. That's how you should see your job, right? Mm-hmm. Unless you really just love what you do and, whatever. You feel like you're in your purpose. Mm-hmm. I don't believe in that. Your purpose should be you having full self-control over everything that it is that you do day in, day out. That's my opinion. And so anyway, with what he was saying, as far as purpose, passion, and creativity, a lot of people don't realize that they have certain skill sets, like literally as we speak. Somebody may have told you that you're good at something and you may not believe them. And so you never go beyond the compliment. You know, you never feel like you should explore what that would be like if you pushed it a little bit further. And so when my aunt told me she liked my gift basket, I was excited. I said, "What? You say what?" And I started taking pictures and making baskets and stuff. And when I did that, that is how I was able to grow my business. Now I've made some terrible baskets. I'm just saying.
You have to.
And I did it based off of you gave me $10. That's all you gonna get. Don't think you about to get all this magnificent stuff. You gave me $10, you're gonna get a $10 basket. And so, with that being said, I've learned how to perfect my craft, even when I was making gift baskets, through education and learning, having mentors, being around cool people like Jehudi. Like all this stuff is important, y'all. It's about kind of growing as an individual within the spaces of whatever you're good at. You know, that's important. And so speaking of whatever you're good at, Jehudi's a man of many talents. And so we want to talk about supply chain a little bit in relation to Susu Society and what he's been talking about already. From a supply chain perspective, and even it all ties together. So I can ask him this one question. I'm sure he's going to loop it all together. From a supply chain perspective, how important is it to have certain systems in place in order for your business to be successful? So we talked a little bit about, tap into your talents if you're good at something, right? But how does one become successful in being organized and turn that into a system or organized business to even get to the point where they're able to produce and grow their business? So tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, and in terms of like finding your niche,
whatever you want it to be. Show that. I say Tesla. People tell me I'm saying the car that I got wrong. So do your thing. I mean, I got it.
Yeah.
You got it. You the man. Do your thing.
So, and finding like, all right, your passion and what you're interested in doing. Also, too, I think there's balance. I also don't think there should be, when we go to start a business, there shouldn't be 200 or 2,000, 2 million people making shirts.
Same thing. Yeah, for sure.
And so it's about, actually my mother always says this, is about understanding, hey, what is your passion? What is your skill? And then what is the need? Because you don't just need to be doing stuff just because you have a passion for it. Like, well, connect it to a need. And so, with that in mind, and so that's kind of what I did with Susu Society, even with the People's Power Company. From a supply chain point of view, it's saying, hey, I want to see all Black supply chains. I think it makes sense. That should be normal.
What's a supply chain for people who don't know?
Okay. A supply chain, I like to say, is all of the tools, resources, people, technology, processes that allow you to manifest an idea.
Boom.
That is if you won't find that in the dictionary.
Very clearly stated. You guys get it.
Yeah.
It's all about your full circle approach to how you do what you do.
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah. I love it. Go ahead.
And so, what was I saying? Supply chain.
You was talking about from a perspective of like bringing it forth to supply chain. So all the people in place, and now that you have the people, people, places in place, now what's next?
Yeah. So you have found like, okay, cool. This is a need. This is something I'm good at. This is something I'm passionate about. So then, therefore, I think it's about like MVP. So there's this book called The Lean Startup, and it talks about fail fast, learn quickly, and whatnot. So I think that's what it's about. Like you have to put out your first single in a sense before people will catch on. There's a nice clip with Will Smith in it, and he talks about how important it is for you to get the ball rolling, because nobody's going to believe something that only you can see. Because your idea, you're the only one who can see it at this point. And people aren't going to run and push behind this big idea that they can't see yet. So you have to create something that they can see. So that's I like to say your minimally viable product is what they call the term in the lean startup. And so it is about you playing all these parts that you would later on have a full team for. But many times it's about you playing a lot of those parts. If possible, finding like doing horizontal networking and saying, oh, okay, Jessica, all right, bet you're also interested in solar. All right, bet. So we can work on this together. I mean, it's just like in college, like, oh, I can rap. You can make beats. All right, we're gonna work together just because we're both. And I mean, she's above me, but we're both in this similar plane, and we see the common need. We see the common value in it, and so I think it is about making those kind of relationships, but still flushing out your idea, getting the minimally viable product. Don't spend a year, 2 years, 5 years trying to create this perfect thing.
Yeah.
Create the thing and then get feedback. Get feedback. Create a feedback loop. It's called. So get feedback with your friends, with your quote unquote target market. And so you're creating this feedback loop. You have this minimally viable product. And then as you start flushing it out and doing it, then that's when you can tap in and say, okay, cool. Where's the need? Like, me posting on IG is taking way too much time. Yeah. So I need to find someone who can help me ideate or do it, where we can trade in currencies, we can trade in some money if we need to, we can trade in some services, we can trade in some sweat. Yeah. And that's what Susu Society is about. It's like, yo, like, dollar is one currency. We should be able to trade in multiple currencies, and there's a lot of accountability, sweat. Like there's a bunch that we don't necessarily deal in that are sometimes even more valuable. So I mean, so still get your money. But anyways, connecting it to supply chain. So then it's about filling out that team and saying, okay, cool. I'm creating this product. I'm doing this service. All right, boom. I have, going back to those 5 elements: visionary operations, funding, brand, and common need. Do I have these people? Where am I in this equation? And then let me find the other people who are passionate and skillfully aligned with the goal that I also have in mind. Let's work together and create this common goal. And let's work towards that. And the supply chain are those people. And then it's the whole thing. So it's the studio that you go to the video studio, whatever that you do to get your commercial done. It's the videographer and the camera, and it's all of those things. So it's putting all those pieces together.
I like that. So what people don't realize, or maybe they do, is that sometimes it takes a village to raise a business. Look at that. Some people, their ego won't allow for them to ask for help. So y'all know, I'll be begging y'all on social media. We need architects. We need building inspectors. We need this. We need that. Because here's the thing, guys. One thing I know is when I've been my most successful in business, it's because I've been around people like Judy. I've been around really awesome, talented, I call them people that are smarter than me, because I can't possibly, as one individual, try to know everything, right?
Impossible.
And so even not knowing everything, I am smart enough to say I need help. All the solutions of the world will be solved if people just say I need help.
Yeah.
Or say I don't know. Be humble enough to say I don't know. What I'm never going to do as a Capricorn is waste money. I'm so frugal. I ain't about to sit up here and be like, I'm gonna watch this YouTube channel, or I'm gonna take this course. No, I'm not. Not gonna happen. Who do I know already has this? Like, I'm gonna give you an example. I swear I was supposed to be taking this free lead certification course.
Mm-hmm.
I done had this course for 8 months. They sent me a message say, it's almost down to the wire, where if you don't take this exam, we're about to close the portal on you. I'm like, all right, what am I supposed to do? Here's what I learned from that. No, I'm not going to take it. So I'm petty, very petty. So I'm a logical person. This is the masculine side of me that says if something doesn't make sense, I'm not going to do it. So I don't want to take the lead certification because much like the U.S. Green Building and all these other companies out here, their memberships is based off of you taking these exams, getting these certifications, and all that. How does that benefit my customer other than me learning something new? So, what I did do is I took that information and I learned what I could learn out of that lead certification. So, they broke down the envelope, building envelopes, all that stuff. I learned all these great things, right? And guess what? That's not even my job. That's my general contractor's job. Yeah. But I have to learn this stuff because in order for me to have intelligent conversations with people like Jehudi and other people that's out in the industry, I need to know what I'm talking about. I need to at least sound like I know what I'm talking about so they don't burn me out of money and waste my money and my time and my energy, right? And so I said all that to say because I think sometimes we forget a part of our growth as individuals and business professionals stem from us understanding energy exchange. And we talked about this before we had even started the sessions. We talked about energy exchange because you do have to be mindful of your energy expense, you know, meaning the people that you talk to, you spend time with and exchange conversation, space, whatever. You have to be mindful of these things. And I say that because I find that people are in certain industries where they're just burnt out and they don't have the capacity to want to learn about a susu society or supply chains or anything that we talked about in these last two sessions. We don't want to learn those things because we're exhausted.
That's real.
We're burnt. Like,
that's real.
Burnt to the core. Like, we're just tired. We may have bad business deals, anything. The list can be very long. And so what I'll ask of you for the final question, what are some things that you think would be beneficial for our viewers and listeners to have in their arsenal as they're going on their entrepreneur journey, even if it's not in the green space? What are some top two things?
That's big. So like you said, that energy piece is a big, I think, hindrance to people trying to get started, as well as a limiting factor for people who are in their stride or doing their business. And so I would say self-care is super big. And so, I mean, self-care is big. So having those moments where you refuel, those moments where, you can take a step back. And then, I don't know, this could be a second bullet, but this is also tied to the first, but it's like enjoy, like joy. Like finding the joy in it, like being thankful. Like I feel like in order to keep me balanced, there are times when I'm like, I'm feeling a little off balance. And the key thing that I do is at night, I just list all the things I was thankful for that day. So I'm thankful for, even though the traffic took me the long way around, I got to see the whole
you know, saw area. The whole stadium.
Yeah, the whole stadium and whatnot. So I was like, okay, cool. I appreciate that. It's been a sunny day today. So I just go through it and practice focusing on the things that I'm grateful for. And that fuels me. So joy, so finding, because your passion can quickly turn into a job. Yeah. If you're used to having a job, then you will make everything a job. And so it's about continuing to find joy and then continue to be like, all right, bet. I got this podcast today. We get to talk about this, get to hang out, and find joy in it. So joy, self-care, I think are big. And then when you're it's a quick plug. And then
you can plug yourself in. Go ahead. Tell them how to reach you. Go ahead. Do your thing.
And so then as you get to that level, then it's like another big drain is operational effectiveness. Is my business running? Am I exerting too much to get the output that I need? And so that goes back to operational effectiveness. And so that's what the People's Power Company deals with now. For manufacturing businesses, for merchandising, for service-based businesses. We help you look at a strategic plan, look at and identify the metrics that are important. Many times we have these lag metrics. Okay, cool. Or sometimes we don't have any metrics. We don't have any goals sometimes. We're like, oh, I'm in business. But if you do have metrics, many times people revert or resort to lag metrics, which are like, oh, the revenue or the quality of this thing. And once you have that information, you can't change it. you already have the revenue you have. You can't change that. So what's important and what we help you identify is your lead metrics. So, all right, if I want my quality of my renewable energy system, the quality of my building to be good, all right, then I have to hit these checks. I have to make sure that those are on time. And those are something that I can directly control. So it's identifying the metrics, creating a nice plan, a strategic planning. It's data insight. So people, actually, I realize a lot of small companies don't capture data. We do in terms of like Instagram and whatnot, we think of analytics and we realize how important that is. And so one is capturing data, but then just having data that's just numbers and information. So turning that data into insight is what we help you do. And so realizing, all right, cool, we have this plan, we're taking actions, we're looking at the metrics. All right, now that we've made a couple of changes, what is our business? Because you said it takes a village to raise a business. That's because a business is alive. Like your business it's going to come up with ideas. It's going to be stubborn. It's just like a child. It's like nah, we not going that way today. It's going to tell you. It's going to tell you what it needs. Yeah. And so you can. One way to hear that is through the data, but through data insight, and then using that to create process improvement. And so that looks like standardizing your processes. Many small companies, small businesses are in so much innovation mode that they're not establishing standard practices, best practices. And then especially that's very important when you start having employees and whatnot. And that's when we run into situations where we see bad customer service because they didn't establish the standard practice, or everyone's just doing whatever they think is best. So anyway, we take you through the process, plan, measure, improve. And so I'd like to say that the data will tell a story, so create yours.
Create your data story.
Yeah.
Tell everybody how to find you.
So if you're interested in improving your business from an operational point of view, manufacturing, merchandising, service-based businesses, you need some data analysis, you need a strategic plan, you need some process improvement, and you can reach me at thepeoples with the S powerco.com. thepeoplespowerco.com. And if you're interested in elevating your Black-owned lifestyle, because once again, self-care comes first, the business comes after. So you have to address your self-care and your fitness needs, and discover Black brands. You can do that at sususociety.com. That's SUSU society.com.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you coming on today. You see how smart this guy is? Y'all need him in your team, okay? In the team, not on the team. Okay? We appreciate you for visiting us on the Container Life with Jessica, guys. That was session 2 with Yehudi Willis. Please make sure y'all reach out to him and connect with him. And we will see y'all on the next show. Remember, sky is not the limit. Peace, guys.
Peace.